Hi there, it's Fola Veritas. So glad that you could join me today in this first podcast for the Living Your Beautiful Life. Living a beautiful life. That is why I'm here to just support you as you begin to build your life up, see transformations, and just feel super empowered. Because I know that that's just how we are meant to be here and to just truly be our authentic selves and to just be standing in that power day to day. So I was having some thoughts this morning just around some fears that have been coming and going over the last year or two, and it seems like it's really coming to this head for me, and about my wanting to fit in and wanting to belong with other people. And I'm not sure I'm not the only one. We're always wanting to make others think well of us, and in our workplace, at home, with family, friends, whoever it might be, even strangers, right? It seems that we're always being mindful of what we're going to choose our next steps based on what people may or may not be thinking of us. So for myself, I know that's something I've struggled with, and it's really been highlighted with my current job. I work in healthcare, and that's my full-time gig as of now. And people are always coming to me seeking out some type of clinical support or help with making decisions of a clinical nature. And my perception as well is that, sometimes, again, this is my perception, there's some expectations that I be or act a certain way, especially at work, right? But I see it also in my day-to-day home life. And I do believe that this is just a normal thing for us to put expectations on each other. Like, we're human. We're looking for approval, for validation, or we sometimes just want to pass things on to someone else, and that's the easy thing, is just pass the buck, sort of. So it can be hard when we begin, though, to put these unreasonable expectations on others, or even worse, in my opinion, when we start to put our own views onto another person. And that's where I think we as humans really need to begin to shift out of that, because I just think about how often I get put into these places where I'm being placed inside this invisible box. Like, it doesn't really exist, but it's being constructed around me, or attempts to construct it around from people in my life. So that can make things really hard, especially when we talk about stepping into more of our power, right? Stepping away from that victimhood mentality. So for myself, just over the last few years here, as I've kind of been stepping in and out of different phases, and I'm currently in this place in my life where I'm really seeing how I need to stand up for me. And I've seen how much I've changed over these years. And that's just really led me to look deeper into, why is it that I'm trying to hide these real parts of myself from other people around me, other people who I feel should love me and accept me for who I am, yet their beliefs or their ways of life have, obviously make it a bit more challenging for them to do that. And there's some things that I take part in my life, or that interest me, that aren't necessarily considered the most popular, if I can call it that. Doing the card readings, studying shamanism, speaking about all the esoteric things, and even in my, I would say, quote unquote, past life, I was open to different forms of relationships besides monogamous relationships, and these were considered pretty unconventional and sometimes looked down upon by other people. So, I'll admit I'm a bit fantastical around some of these things, but the main point is that it is just who I am. I can't change my eccentricness or, my sometimes witty self, but I have learned that I don't necessarily always want to fit in. So it's this weird back and forth, fit in, but wait, do you really want to do that? So I think just over the years, my having learned to really stand in the power of who I am, and learn more about my values, learn more about what my truth is, that's led to this totally more like fulfilling and abundant life. And isn't that really why we all were brought here or came here? Is just to be ourself and to like shine that brilliance. So I just wanted to share a few ways that I found really helpful along my journey. Some things to kind of help you go stepping more into self-acceptance, no matter what maybe those around you are saying or thinking or what you think they're thinking. So if you have a pen and paper, great. There's 4 points I'd just like to point out. The first is about setting boundaries. And this can look different depending on the people, right? And when I say setting boundaries, I am talking about standing up for yourself. And setting boundaries can refer to anything like verbally, physically, or even energetically. And I think when it comes down to it, there's a lot of things that we allow to happen in our day-to-day that all we need to do is simply say no. And that can be a really hard thing, when we've been brought up to always to stop saying no to our parents or whoever it might be. So just a reminder that you do have the power to stand for who you are, and you don't have to take anyone's bullshit. You can simply say 2 letters, N-O, no. And I think that's something that's been such a powerful word that's come up more and more over the last decade or so. And just remembering that you have the ability to do that. And there's some techniques too you can easily look up. One thing that I like to do in terms of setting an energetic boundary, say if I'm going into a place where I don't really like how I'm feeling or what the environment kind of brings, maybe it's a more low vibe, kind of heavy feeling, then I will just imagine kind of tying off a space around my body and also the auric field. So maybe just 2 to 3 feet around, diameter around you. You can imagine it being filled with a white light or something, and just really visualizing it and kind of setting the intention that nothing of a dense negative vibration can pass through that bubble or wherever you've tied off around you. And that will really help you only in attracting, more positive experiences and allowing those to be more in your perception. And it's not like it's going to instantly just evade every negative experience, but it's almost as though those things just kind of bounce off you and they don't affect you as much. So that is a really powerful technique. Second is just allowing your light to shine. No matter the consequence, just remember that you are beautifully you and that you were created and you showed up on this earth for a reason. And that reason was for you to share your gifts, your heart, your personality, and your light to everyone on this earth. And you have an audience, wherever that might be, whoever that might be, that wants to see you shining that trueness of who you are. And that you have to remind yourself you can't do that when there are pieces of yourself that you are trying to hide. And I know here I am telling you this. This is something, like I said, I've struggled with. I think that it's an ongoing process. I don't know if we ever really get to that full place, but I trust that over time it just becomes easier and easier to allow that light to shine out. Okay? Number 3 is to do a purge. This is something that I found really powerful in terms of kind of cutting away from what we think is who we are, based on groups or different things that we might be attached to. So you might need to do a purge or cut people out or things out of your life that might be face-to-face, like an actual relationship. Or it could be someone coworkers or whatever on your social media, whatever that might be. I encourage you to really start to look into what is it that each person or item or event or whatever it might be that you've committed to, what value does it bring to your life? And if you can't really find the value there, maybe consider that you need to release it and create that space or that vacuum for new things to come in. And that's something I found so powerful, is just trusting that when we can let go of something of a higher vibration or something that's more in alignment with who we are in that moment is going to find its way to us. So just trust that by letting go, you will receive. Again, that's just how the universe works. And, you don't have to do that in like a rude, hurtful way to people. And unfortunately, there's going to be times that we need to let people go. And I'm sure we've all had this even happen to us. Someone tells us they're done a relationship and it is hard and you go through a grieving process. Just trust that there are ways to work through that and you will make your way through to the other end. Okay. And finally, number 4 is being courageous. So just stand in your power every day. I think of a lion, and it's funny, we're in August, the Leo month, the lion, and just how like powerful a lion can be. It's not shaken down, it just stands there. It's loud, it's proud, and it is what it is, no matter what. And it can be scary and it can be playful when it needs to. It is that like full like embodiment, right? And you are a beautiful being and you're meant to show your authenticity. So just trust that that is what you need to do, and that every day you stand more and more in your power, that is going to like have this ripple effect out into the world that is going to encourage other people to do the same thing. So those are the 4 points I wanted to highlight. And there might be times though that you could find yourself in a situation where you don't actually feel safe, like physically even, to maybe stand in your power or to stand up to someone, because some people can just be downright mean. And I don't want to see you putting yourself in any situations. Reach out for the help that you need, whether that's like the police or if it's a friend or a pastor or someone in your community, someone that you meet that you just, feel like, hey, maybe this is that time. People like that do exist that are there to support us, kind of like these guardian angels. Just connect and trust and just begin to speak your truth, and you will see that in time, like the universe is conspiring for you, not against you, for you. And you will begin to see, the more you stand in your power, how that abundance is filling your life and you just feel so much more fulfilled. So if any of these words resonate with you, I definitely encourage you to start with those 4 quick tips of how you can begin to live a more authentic, you-filled life. Start whether it's by doing number 1, setting boundaries, 2, allowing your light to shine, 3, doing a purge, and 4, being courageous. Do 1, do all 4, whatever that looks like. I really encourage you to just, take action in your life. And that is when you'll begin to see the real magic start to play out. So I'd love to hear how that goes for you. Leave me a comment about what you think. Send me a message. You can visit my website, www.folaveritas.com. It's Veritas, Veritas. If you're interested in joining our Facebook community of like-minded individuals who are really wanting to shift their lives into this you-filled sort of way of being, then please join our Facebook group at Living a You-Filled Life. And I look forward to having more of these conversations with you and to sharing some of these insights and things that are shared to me and that I just find magically seem to come in alignment with how my week's going on a more regular basis. So I appreciate it, and you take care. Bye.